LeBron and the Lakers have been eliminated from the playoffs for a little while now, but that hasn't stopped him from finding a way into the news anyway. Of course, a lot of the conversation around the offseason is, what's LeBron going to do? Is he going to come back to the Lakers? Is he going to opt out? Is he going to try and play with Bronny somewhere, depending on where he gets drafted or doesn't get drafted? But you know what's weird? LeBron was at the Cavs game, Cavs-Celtics game 4, which like initially you might not think is that big of a deal, but in the past it has been. It's taking everything in me not to do the Windhorse fingers in the middle of this. The last time that LeBron returned to Cleveland in 2014, he also went to a Cavs game at some random point in the year. Zydrunas Ilgauskas' jersey was getting retired. He went back to a Cavs game. The Heat were very upset. Pat Riley was very upset. Then a couple months later, he was back in Cleveland. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen this time, but I think he's certainly exploring his options. But that's not really the point of the video. The point of the video is there's a lot of speculation right now around the Lakers in terms of what they're going to do in the offseason, what LeBron is going to do, and specifically, first, I want to talk about the head coaching situation. So they get rid of Darvin Ham. Don't necessarily have an issue with that. I know that a lot of the Lakers fans think that he's terrible. Probably not a top 15 coach in the entire league, okay? Fine with that decision making. Reports and rumors have come out that these are the 3 head coaching options right now for the LA Lakers. Sam Cassell, James Borrego, who got fired by the Hornets, and JJ Redick, LeBron's podcast co-host. Those are the current front-runner head coaching options for the LA Lakers. And really the most interesting part about all of that, connecting the coaching search to what's going to happen with Bronny, to what might happen with LeBron and the Lakers this offseason, is it's going to give us an indicator of just how much pull LeBron still has within the Lakers organization. If we get a scenario where Bronny is on the Lakers and JJ Redick is the head coach of the basketball team, it's very clearly still LeBron's team, right? Now going back to the coaching thing, I actually like James Borrego. I think he did a pretty good job in Charlotte. Sam Cassell is someone that's been kind of in the mix for a couple of different jobs over the years. JJ Redick, sure. Here's the problem. JJ Redick, first-time head coach, presuming that he ends up being the guy. That is just an all-time weird dynamic. He's obviously a younger guy as head coaches go. He's clearly buddies with JJ Redick. Like, are they gonna, lose a big game and then they're gonna go and have a podcast and talk about how they didn't guard ball screens correctly on the podcast? And JJ Redick is like getting mad at the rest of the team during the podcast. I don't know. Maybe that's what's gonna happen. Like, how do you have any real authority within a locker room when you are literally co-hosting a podcast with the best player, or not the best player on the team, but with LeBron? I don't know how you're supposed to bring any authority to the table whatsoever. Cassell, we'll see. Borrego, the problem with that one is the things that he did well in Charlotte. I think that he did a decent job of developing guys and prioritizing some of the young guys and really getting a good amount of energy and effort out of players that are adjusting to the NBA at an early point in their lives. That's not really the gig in LA, right? The gig in LA is managing stars and making sure that everybody's happy, dealing with the constant trade rumors during the season that a LeBron team is just always going to have. And it's, kind of staying out of the way for a lot of the X's and O's stuff, right? Like, that's the gig in LA. That's not the kind of coach that Borrego was in Charlotte. And also just be really funny if, assuming LeBron stays, Borrego's the coach and the Lakers hire a guy that Michael Jordan fired as head coach. That would be hilarious. But obviously there's another part to this, right? There's the Bronny part. And it seems likely that there are going to be some teams, namely the Lakers, that are going to at least think about prioritizing putting Bronny on the team or on the G League team as a way to get LeBron to stay. Because I think the reports and rumors basically are, if he could choose everything to go well, then LeBron would have JJ Redick as head coach, he would have Bronny on the team, and then he would still be with the Lakers. Like, I think he wants to stay in LA. He wants to be there. Going back to Cleveland, like, yeah, that would be cool. But then it's like, his family obviously is in LA. Is Bronny going to end up with the Cavs? How is he going to be able to orchestrate all that? Like, that's going to be weird. All these other options, Philly, Orlando, like, none of those other options really seem realistic in comparison to LA, right? But I'll be honest, it seems like the Bronny thing is going to have a significant part to play in all of this, right? Like, if the Lakers commit to getting Bronny, oh my gosh, can you imagine if they picked him in the first round? Getting Bronny at some point in the second round or as an undrafted guy or whatever, I think LeBron stays, whatever, they get JJ Redick as head coach, and it becomes clear at that point just how much pull LeBron truly does still have within the organization. Because let me just put it this way. If LeBron James isn't on the team, if he's not employed by the LA Lakers, I would put it at about a 0% chance that Bronny would end up as a Laker and JJ Redick would be the head coach of the team. But both of those things might end up happening. And I'm not necessarily saying that, like, if they don't do both of those things or one of those things, that LeBron would potentially leave. It's more so an indicator of his standing. And the interesting thing as well is kind of thinking about the next couple of years of LeBron's career, it seems decently likely that he's going to play for another 2 seasons at least. He's definitely waiting on trying to get the ownership position within the eventual probable new Las Vegas NBA franchise. He wants to be the owner of that team. And if that's still 2 years out, 3 years out, then he's probably just going to keep playing basketball, right? But it's just interesting to me how much pull he can still have within the media narrative, within the NBA news cycle. Even though his team is out of the playoffs, just him showing up to a Cavs game was like a significant deal. And obviously, Cleveland has their own issues this offseason, trying to deal with Donovan Mitchell, trying to deal with a bunch of other stuff. But, I mean, we've talked about this for a couple years, right? Like, theoretically, if LeBron wanted to leave and maybe they could figure out some kind of sign and trade situation, obviously, because the Cavs don't have salary cap space to just sign LeBron outright. Like, let's say Mitchell's gone, but it's like Garland, LeBron, Evan Mobley, and some stuff still on the roster in Cleveland. Like, that's decently interesting. And if it gets to a point where he can say, hey, I want JJ Redick as the head coach and I want Bronny on the team, maybe Cleveland is willing to step up and say, yeah, sure, let's do that. Other possibilities also obviously include things like Miami and a bunch of other stuff. I think at the end of the day, it's pretty likely he's going to stay in LA. Bronny's probably going to be on the team in some capacity. The head coaching thing, though, I can't get that figured out. I don't know why it feels like this every single offseason now or every other offseason where it's like, okay, who are the Lakers going to get as head coach? And then all these names come out. Then it's like, oh, they got Frank Vogel. Okay, that's cool. Won the title with him, by the way. Then that doesn't work out. They're like, all these names come out. Who are the Lakers going to go with as head coach? Oh, they went with Darvin Ham. Okay, assistant. Maybe he'll be pretty good. And now Darvin Ham's gone, and we're going, okay, some big names. Maybe it's Coach Bud. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. And then it all settles, and it's like, okay. So we're getting JJ Redick or Borrego, whatever the case may be. And to me, it's maybe an indicator of the fact that Lakers job isn't exactly super enticing to a lot of people. Like, I think it's definitely interesting that Coach Bud was like immediately the guy in Phoenix when the Lakers have an open head coaching position. And maybe it's just not as attractive of a destination for, some of the higher level head coaches in the league. I certainly think Coach Bud would have been better as a head coach than any of the guys the Lakers are currently looking at. No disrespect to any of the guys there, but Coach Bud just has had more success as a head coach, certainly. And it's just interesting, like, is LeBron being there as the general kind of like circus around the trade rumors and all the Bronny stuff? Like, is that such a negative at this point that it is preventing the Lakers from getting head coaching candidates that they would actually want? Because I'd have to imagine that when they fired Darvin Ham, they had bigger ideas than the 3 guys that are being reported and rumored about right now. Maybe they'll end up going with somebody else. Honestly, as of right now, if you ask me to make a prediction, I'm going to say LeBron's going to stay, Bronny's going to be on the team, and JJ Redick's going to be the head coach. And that would be just crazy to me, quite frankly, given everything that's at stake right now for the Lakers, bringing in someone to JJ Redick that would just have such a difficult, environment to kind of deal with within that locker room. But you never know with LeBron teams, and you certainly never know with the Lakers.